Today, we are diving deep into something that's at the very core of who we are: psychological strength. This isn't about what happens to you, but what happens inside you.
So, does this feel familiar? You've got these huge ambitions, you know what you want out of life, but for some reason, you just feel stuck. You're not moving. It's an incredibly common feeling. But here's the good news: it's not a life sentence. The power to change is, well, it's a fundamental part of being human.
You know, the great scholar Al-Ghazali said it so perfectly. Think about it. The entire concept of giving advice, of teaching, of learning, it's all built on the single, powerful idea that we can change. So this isn't about wishful thinking. It's about understanding the mechanics of how we build a stronger self. Let's get into it. Okay, so just how deep does this promise of change really go? It turns out our potential for transformation is way more profound than most of us probably think.
Al-Ghazali had this brilliant analogy. Just look at the world around us. We can take a wild falcon and teach it to be tame. We can take an aggressive dog and train it to be disciplined. We can take a horse that's completely untamed and teach it to be gentle. Now, if that level of profound change is possible in animals, why on earth would we believe it's impossible for ourselves?
Or think about this. A man once came looking for a single piece of life-changing advice, and the answer he got was simple: do not be angry. Now, that wasn't just a casual remark. It's a huge statement. It means that even an emotion as powerful and fiery as anger is something we can learn to manage. And if we can reshape something so fundamental, just imagine what else is possible.
All right, so we've established that we can change, but what are we changing into? What does real psychological strength actually look like? Because honestly, it's one of the most misunderstood concepts out there.
This slide just completely shatters the myth, right? Strength is not about being some kind of robot who never feels pain or never messes up. That's not human. The reality of strength is all about resilience. It's about learning how to manage your pain, how to actually learn from your mistakes instead of just regretting them, and having the courage to say, yeah, I'm not perfect. It's not about being unbreakable. It's about knowing how to put yourself back together.
So what does that person look like day to day? Well, they endure hardship. They don't get controlled by their emotions. They manage them. They can handle criticism without completely falling apart. They just get that life is a series of ups and downs. And maybe most importantly, when they fall, they get back up. Every single time.
And this quote just ties it all together beautifully. Real strength was never about who's the strongest in the room, who can overpower someone else. It has always been about that internal battle, that quiet, powerful ability to control your own spirit when things get heated. That, right there, is the true test of strength. Which brings us to the main event. The real arena where strength is built isn't out there in the world. It's inside our own minds. And the very first fight we have to win is understanding where our self-worth actually comes from. It is so easy, especially today, to build our identity on things that are, well, kind of shaky. The clothes we wear, the car we drive, how many likes we get on a post. But that's a house of cards. That's false self-worth. True, rock-solid self-worth, that's built from the inside out. It comes from your character, from the skills and knowledge you've worked for, from your internal values. It's what's left when you strip all the external stuff away. Now, in this inner battle, we all have an opponent, and it's important to give it a name. Let's call it the pathological critic. This is that nasty, destructive voice inside your head whose only job, it seems, is to chip away at your self-worth, bit by bit. And it's relentless. You know this voice. It loves to pull up the highlight reel of all your past failures. That embarrassing thing you did 5 years ago, to this voice, it happened 5 minutes ago. Oh, and it's a huge fan of the comparison game. It's constantly pointing out how much better everyone else is doing, making you feel like you're falling behind. And its final knockout punch is always the same. It whispers the most destructive lie of all, that you're just not good enough, that you don't deserve to be happy or successful. Winning this inner battle is all about learning how to stand up to that voice and eventually turn its volume all the way down. Here's the cool part. When you start to win that inner battle, the change isn't just internal. It completely transforms how you show up in the world, especially in your relationships. I love this metaphor. A psychologically strong person is like an elevator for everyone around them. They lift you up with genuine encouragement. When they have to give you feedback, it's always constructive. It's meant to help you grow, not to hurt you.
And maybe the biggest tell of all, they celebrate your wins right alongside you without a hint of envy, because they know your success doesn't take anything away from them. And you can spot their strength just as much in what they don't do. When you disagree, they don't turn it into a personal attack. They don't badmouth you the second you leave the room, and they don't smother you with emotional neediness because their own sense of worth is solid. It doesn't depend on you. They give you the space to be you. But where does all this come from? What's the bedrock? Well, the source material points to the deepest well of strength there is, a spiritual anchor, something that holds us steady when our own power just isn't enough. I mean, just stop and think about this for a second. Your heart beats around 100,000 times every single day, and you don't have to command a single one of them. It just happens. It's this profound, daily reminder that we aren't really in complete control, and that our very life is sustained by a power so much greater than we are. Realizing that isn't meant to make us feel small. It's meant to help us trust.
And that brings us to this core truth. The ultimate, absolute power in the universe doesn't belong to us. It belongs to God. When you really lean into that belief, you stop trying to carry the impossible weight of the world all by yourself. You're no longer relying on your own limited battery. You're plugging into an infinite power source.
So how does this actually strengthen us? Well, it gives us answers to the biggest why questions, which gives our life a sense of purpose. It offers real comfort when we're going through tough times. It brings a kind of peace to the heart that you can't get anywhere else. And ultimately, it creates a deep sense of humility and trust, which lets you navigate all the chaos of life with a steady hand.
So in the end, building psychological strength is really about becoming a better storyteller. It's about rewriting those internal narratives, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we're worth, and what we're capable of. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what is the one internal story you need to start changing today?